Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Del Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Uh, yeah, let's get into it. New information involving the Keffe D situation, involving the feds. Um, this is very interesting. This is very, very interesting. And I'm gonna tell you why. Like I said, I'm gonna wait for a couple of more people to come up in here and we can get it started. Mar Dizzle, what's happening? Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. So look, guys, um, once again, thank you for the other 20 people who have not subscribed, but that are checking it out. I appreciate you too. Um, SM Good Lux 91. Yeah. What's up? What's up? Gaston Neal, Latte Lawson, Troy Ron Brown. What's happening, y'all? Let's get into it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, look, check this out. So we see the situation with the Diddy case. You know, I was trying to explain to a few people a few weeks ago in regards to the case. Keffe D basically, through his lawyer, is speaking, and Keffe D is basically saying, "Hey, deserving more. Good evening, Retro 813 Battle Axe. What's good? Stan, what's good?" Um, this is very interesting, people, because then I'm gonna tell you why. So basically, the feds have been trying to get Keffe D to cooperate through his lawyer, of course. I believe the United States attorney and the Las Vegas prosecutors in the Diddy case have spoken. Um, what trips me out about this whole situation is the fact that you would think that Diddy would have been charged with the Tupac situation. I think before any of this other stuff it came about, based on the Keffe D testimony alone. Um, but basically, at the end of the day, Keffe D says no. Keffe D lawyer now says that all of the stuff that he told to Greg Kading and everybody else was not true. Um, Keffe D, he will not speak to the Southern District of New York or their investigators who are engaged in trying to find out more crimes about Diddy and his involvement with the streets and so on and so forth. But interestingly, even more interesting than that, um, Keffe D, we know, has publicly said uh, to Greg Kading, to the Art of Dialogue, to Vlad TV, and numerous other channels that Sean P. Diddy Combs offered him $1 million to basically exterminate Tupac Shakur. That is without a doubt. We're only going to deal with the facts. That's without a doubt, right? And so Keffe D has also said that Puffy never paid him a dime for it. He never paid him $1, and that, quote, if Puffy would have just gave him half of the money, he would have stayed solid at that particular time and would not have told Greg Kading and the United States attorney about the fact that Sean P. Diddy Combs at that particular time had offered him $1 million. These are the facts. This is what it has actually happened. They have it on tape. They have it in transcripts. And Keffe D has admitted it on the Art of Dialogue as well as other channels, right? However, now that Diddy is locked up, the prosecutors have reached out to each other in the situation involving Keffe D and Sean P. Diddy Combs and Keffe D's allegations about the things that he has said in the past. But all of a sudden now, Keffe D is basically saying through his lawyer that he's not going to cooperate with the feds in regards to Sean P. Diddy Combs mentioning anything about him involved in that case, right? The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter at this particular point whether he mentions it or not, because he already said it under a sworn affidavit to the United States Attorney's Office when he talked to Greg Cady and them, as well as, like I said, on these other channels in which they're going to be using snippets, audio and video from these channels to present as evidence that Keffe D said it not just once, not just twice, but 3 times, as well as in his book. But all of a sudden, Sean P. Diddy Combs is locked up, and I had a feeling they would try to go at Keffe D and, see if they could possibly, add some kind of murder charge involving the Tupac case against Sean P. Diddy Combs. Keffe D, through his lawyer, right? He hasn't been able to obtain bail at this particular time, but Keffe D, through his lawyer, is basically saying, yeah, they've been collaborating. Not him, he has been collaborating, but the DA for the Clark County for the Tupac murder case in Vegas have been collaborating with the federal prosecutors in the Central District or in the Southern District of New York. New York City investigators have been collaborating with the Clark County District Attorney's Office in Nevada, where Keffe D is in custody over any evidence linking Combs to Tupac's murder. So they want that, you know what I mean? They want that. But basically what they want is they want Keffe D. And Keffe D basically saying, no, I'm not saying nothing. Keffe D is basically saying, no, I'm not saying nothing, because they haven't offered him anything. And anything around that would be immunity, full immunity, not a proffer agreement what he was offered before, but immunity. And I don't think the state is willing to give Keffe D that from that perspective. But if they can work out some kind of leniency situation where, hey, look, or plea deal, you plead to this, you testify in this. But this is the conundrum that the Las Vegas prosecutors run into, as well as the United States attorneys, the feds, right? Is the fact that now, not only is Keffe D not willing to participate or to testify, but hear this. Keffe D, directly through his lawyer, Carl Arnold, has now declared he will not assist in that aspect of the investigation. Now, some people will say, well, why? Why won't he do that? Keffe D's lawyer, Carl Arnold, added, of his own client's past allegations that Combs tabled the life-changing sum of money for the murder of the 1990s record label rival Tupac, no one has ever been able to prove that he wanted Tupac killed and was willing to pay for it. Meaning Keffe D's lawyers basically saying that no one has been willing to prove that Sean P. Diddy Combs had offered any money to Keffe D and that he was willing to pay for Keffe D or other people to have it done. Now, that's a legal argument, but let's get into the factual aspect of what this is. Then his Carl Arnold, Keffe D's lawyer, was asked about Keffe D's claim during a 2008 taped interview that Combs, who partied with him, outlined the $1 million kill offer, and Keffe D's lawyer said Keffe D lied. Now, once again, the 2008 taped interview, this is on tape. So now when Keffe D goes to court, this is going to be used as evidence. And it's like having a little bit of buyer's remorse, if you will, when he thought he had immunity. See, the reason why Keffe D was speaking out, because he thought he had immunity. He didn't know that he had a conditional proffer agreement. And that condition of that proffer agreement was basically that, yo, look, you can tell us everything that happened, everything that went down, but that's as far as it goes. You can't go out and then admit this in public and not expect to be held responsible, which he ultimately was. And once again, the state is going to put on where Keffe D said in the Art of Dialogues video, basically, he said, he can, and then Vlad too, I got immunity. I got immunity. I got immunity with the United States Attorney's Office, right? I got immunity. When in fact, he did not have immunity. He had a conditional proffer agreement. So when asked about the 2000 taped interview that he gave to the police, to the authorities, right? When Keffe D's lawyer is asked about Keffe D making that statement, Keffe D lawyer comes back and says, Keffe lied. Now, that might work for, us as, the public. But when you get that in front of a jury, and they sit down and they dial with the evidence, once again, even during the bail hearing, right? It was thought that, okay, cool, Keffe D was going to make bail. There was a whole lot of things said back and forth, a lot of postponement and all of those things. But then when it came down to it, he didn't get bail for whatever reason, right? And so now, once again, a person's credibility comes into play. When your credibility comes into play in regards to whether they believe you or don't believe you, and we're talking about the jury, the members of the jury. In 2008, during the taped interview, Keffe D claimed that Sean P. Diddy Combs offered him $1 million to kill Tupac and Suge, right? But now, in 2024, now that Keffe D is incarcerated for that same thing that he once confessed to, thinking that he was covered under a immunity agreement, he's basically now saying through his lawyer, he lied, right? And has refused to help the feds in any kind of way in dealing with that. This is interesting right here. This is the part where it really gets interesting, right? Keffe D's lawyer is basically saying Arnold insisted that Combs too had no involvement. Keffe D's lawyer is saying that Sean P. Diddy Combs had no involvement in Tupac's 1996 murder or information about his own client. Keffe D lawyer said he is going to prison for life. If he has that information, I am sure he would have given it up now to save his skin. Well, that's up for argument. That's why one goes to trial, tries to fight the case, and seeing if, like I said, they can offer a formidable argument or a formidable defense in the situation. But this is what hit me. It said a family friend of Keffe D also outlined that he is not cooperating with any New York City probe into Sean P. Diddy Combs, and basically said Keffe D ain't saying shit to any of these agents about Diddy. They have nothing to offer him. Pause. Well, somebody saying that they have nothing to offer Keffe D, right? Now, when somebody said friend of the family, I don't know who, whatever, this is basically what's being said. So now, the fact that someone would say they have nothing to offer him and he still maintains he ain't no snitch. Now, on one end, that sounds formidable in the regular argument, if you will. But on the other end, we know for a fact that Keffe D had cooperated with the government in order to get the deal that he got when he had got the original drug charge in which he cooperated with the feds. That's not a secret, right? But whatever Keffe D chooses to call himself or says that he's not, then we're going to give Keffe D that benefit of the doubt as to what he believes he's not. But in the criminal world, in dealing with law enforcement and dealing with crime, the paperwork says that Keffe D cooperated with the feds, period. So I won't make an argument about that. But Keffe D says he ain't no snitch. That's what he said. He's not a snitch. Okay, cool. But more importantly, the first part of that statement, they have nothing to offer him. And what I'm taking and I read into that is when they say, well, they have nothing to offer Keffe D, Keffe D would then be searching for some kind of real immunity deal to then change his story and say what? No, I actually was telling the truth, but I said that I was lying because they had caught me. And then that was going to be my defense for the lie that I had told before. You understand what I'm saying? This is where the this is where the problem lies in both instances of anything. And so, like I said, once again, Carl Arnold, Keffe D's lawyer, basically just said, and you can't really go back on this. You can't go back on this. You know, when they asked him, like I said, his lawyer said, added his own client's past allegations that Combs tabled the life-changing sum of money for the murder of the 1990s recording label rival Tupac Shakur. No one has ever been able to prove that he wanted Tupac killed and was willing to pay for it. This is Carl Arnold talking about Sean P. Diddy Combs, despite what his client Keffe D had already told the United States Attorney, as well as Greg Kading, as well as the Las Vegas PD in 2008. Remember, Keffe D did an interview with Las Vegas police in 2008, and he basically told them everything. And the reason why he did that was because they basically told him, look, the Vegas want to talk to you too, but you have a deal with us. So we're not going to do anything. They just want to, because they can actually still charge you, but they're going to respect. See, Vegas at one time, listen to this. That's what most people don't know. Vegas at one time respected Keffe D's proffer agreement with the federal government, right? That's why Keffe D went to talk to them in 2008. They respected the deal that Keffe D did with the feds. The Vegas prosecutors respected the deal that Keffe D did with the feds, and that's why he was never charged. And they knew everything. This is why Tupac's father was mad, right? For most people that don't really understand, he was like, "Well, they knew everything anyway." If you watch the interview that I did with Tupac's father over on the Art of Dialogue, right? So that's why Billy Garland was mad, and rightfully so. But when we talk about them understanding what that was, the fact of the matter is that was in-house. Once again, remember, that was between two agencies, the federal agency and the state agency in Las Vegas. They knew everything. Okay, cool. He admitted to them everything. But now that he went out in public, wrote the book and all of that, the deal is off. So now everything that he told the feds, everything he said in his book, everything he said on Vlad, everything he said on the Art of Dialogue can and will be used against him, as well as the statement that he gave Greg Kading and the Las Vegas Police Department can and will be used against him in the Tupac murder trial. So now, what the feds are trying to do, they're saying, well, hey, you know what? They've been talking to the Vegas prosecutors. Remember, Keffe D's deal originally was with the feds, with the United States Attorney's office, right? And they said, okay, we're not going to prosecute, but you got to go talk to Vegas. Vegas said, we're not going to prosecute because we understand and respect the deal that you have with the United States Attorney's office, right? And disrespecting the deal by going public, writing the book, Keffe D placed himself in the line of fire to be arrested, and that's actually what had happened. Period. So now, how does one say that what they said to the government when offered a proffer agreement, right? That now they're lying. And then once again, specifically about something that he doubled down, tripled down, and quadrupled down involving the $1 million. Right? And then for somebody now to come out and say, well, hey, you know what? Keffe D not talking to nobody. They don't have nothing to offer him. And what they would mean by offer him is some kind of deal to cooperate. Now, we know the federal government as well as the state government, oh, they have something to offer you, but they want to see how good the case or substantial the evidence would be. And the thing that makes this so crazy is the fact that any good lawyer would get up and argue and say, well, one minute he said that it was the truth. And then the next minute he came out and said that he was lying. So we don't really truly know what to believe. Well, when you deal with that, they go back to the initial statement and what that was given up for. At the particular time, there was no TV deal, no movie deal, no Vlad, no art of dialogue, no none of that. When Keffe D made the initial statement to United States Attorney and Greg Kading. And now his life is on the line, right? As it was back then. And he said what he said, implicating not only himself, but his nephew and everybody else that was in the car. So I don't know if you call that snitching. I don't know what you call that, how that moves. You know what I mean? But yeah, it confuses me. It confuses me. See, because that's the thing about, when somebody's doing something and then once they get caught, they start to think about all of the things that they have to lose. And now here comes the justifications and the reasoning and all of the things when one was a criminal living the criminal life. You know what I mean? And not only that, it was self incrimination, not just somebody came and told and said something about whatever, but the person actually writing a book and telling on themselves because he thought that he had immunity. And evidently he did not read what he signed or had his lawyer had him agree to, because if he did, he would have kept his mouth shut. And so once again, I go back to that the feds are trying to, whether they're going to be successful or not, to get Keffe D to cooperate against Sean P. Diddy Combs. But like I said, the thing to me that makes it murky is the fact that now he's saying, oh, you know what? Nah. When asked about Keffe D's claim during the 2000 tape interview that Combs, whom Keffe D partied with, outlined the $1 million kill offer on Suge and Tupac. And Keffe D's lawyer basically is saying, Keffe lied. He lied about that. Once again, dealing with the public, that's a formidable argument. Dealing with us, podcasters, YouTubers, whatever you want to call it, that's something that, he can argue in front of us. The difference is when you get in front of a jury, that's not going to work. The jury is going to listen to all of the evidence, take into consideration all of that evidence, and they're going to render a verdict. And if they believe that, the initial statements that Keffe D made when he was given the proffer agreement, the statement that he made 2008 to the Las Vegas Police Department confessing to his involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur, if they believe that, then the jury will convict Keffe D and send him to prison for the rest of his life. They have no qualms. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. As the same way it was dealt with in regards to him not getting bail, right? The judge basically saying, hey, you know what? This don't look good. The prosecution, they fighting back. They said they had evidence of things before the situation involving the bail and before all of that. The people who were in the car, they had testimony from somebody else who was an informant involved in the case. So when Keffe D came forward and said who else was in the car, all of those things, basically they're basically saying, hey, you know what? We had that information before he even said anything. So we know that there's truth in fact to what he's saying when he confessed to the United States Attorney's Office. But as of recently, like I said, they've been trying to get him to talk. Keffe D said, I ain't saying nothing. You know what I mean? Basically, Keffe D, murder suspect, said basically he lied about the $1 million hit on Tupac. He lied about it. That Sean P. Diddy Combs offered him $1 million. Now, this is the first time that Keffe D saying that he had lied about that part in particular. On the art of dialogue, he admitted to it, right? In all of these other statements, he had admitted to it. And so by him admitting to that, once he admitted to those things, yeah, and now here we dealing with the case involving Sean P. Diddy Combs, which, like I said, I haven't really seen any evidence yet to say that Sean P. Diddy Combs has done any of these things. I just haven't seen it. Y'all may have. Y'all might got a relationship with the Southern District of New York's prosecuting office with the feds, whatever. I haven't seen any evidence from that perspective. I just want to state that out. People think I be talking in favor of Sean P. Diddy Combs. Once again, I'm not here to speak your views. I'm here to deal with the facts and give you the straight game. If you don't feel like what it is that I'm saying coincides with your beliefs, feel free to unsubscribe. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm only here dealing with the facts as they lay out. And so, like I said, I don't want nobody to go to jail for nothing that they didn't do. I don't want you or nobody in your family or nobody in my family to go to jail for something that they didn't do. And I understand, and I have the same eyes that you have in seeing the Cassie tape and all of that. But like I said, most people saying, oh yeah, the Cassie tape, X, Y, and Z. I do understand that. But first and foremost, what one must understand with that is that would be an assault case, and that would be a state case, and the statute of limitations on that case expired based on the fact that Cassie didn't do anything.